The Ancients' World. Chapter 181, The Heist of Belvia 6. The softness of my wings and the sensation of Sally squeezing me clears all thoughts from my mind. She slowly moves her hips up and down as she releases deep breaths. My tip keeps kissing that little spot, and when it does, I feel electricity. As she continues her movements, I'm slowly getting deeper and deeper. At first, it was only halfway, but now that she is adjusting it, about 2/3s now. How are your wings so soft when they can be indestructible? Sally talks in a breathless voice, and it makes me feel lightheaded when she does. I bring my hands up from lying on the bed and place them on her back. I slowly rub my fingertips up and down the middle of her back. I trace lines on her vertebrae, and she shivers slightly. I slowly unwrap my wings from around her, and she moans at the feeling they give her when they glide on her skin. I stretch them out, and both wingtips gently graze the ceiling, and once fully relaxed horizontally, they are longer than the distance wall to wall. The tips are bent as they lean the wall. She leans her body up, and her full body weight pushes down on my rod. She takes deep breaths as she stops and looks up at the ceiling with half-closed eyes. I'm now fully buried in her, and the incredible pressure enveloping all of it is amazing. If you need to stop, you can. I don't know if this is too much for you. She hasn't moved in a while, and she continues to stare up at the ceiling. She doesn't seem to hear me. After a few more seconds, she squeezes down with pleasurable force, and I almost blow it. I look down and see in the room's dim light that a fair amount of liquid is coming out. That was the first time I hear her whisper something, but my head is too cloudy to put what she says together. She lifts her hips and comes up halfway up. She drops her body again, and my mind does blank as pleasure shoots up and down my spine. She releases a vocal sound of pleasure. At least I hope it's pleasure. She then repeats the action and bounces up and down, releasing the same sound over and over. I guess that means it doesn't hurt. I can quickly feel pressure building at the base of my rod. I hold it with all my might to enjoy this for as long as I can. She moans and releases that same sound with more vigor now as she increases the pace slightly more. I try to keep the pressure inside my rod from building, but it doesn't refuse to go back down. You're getting close. I can feel you growing inside me. I'm getting close too. I can barely put her words together as my head spins. I don't want to pull you out. It is a dangerous day, though. What should we do? Those words bring some reason back to my mind. A player has never gotten an NPC pregnant before. However, this isn't a world like that anymore. I could end up getting her pregnant if I were not careful. I tilt my head up and give her a best concerned look I can. She smiles and leans down to kiss me while still moving. Tap my hip when you can't hold it back anymore. I flop my head back down and enjoy the activity. She continues to kiss me and squish my chest with her perfect chest. Not too big, and not too small. The pressure is slowly climbing, and it's almost halfway. You've gotten so much bigger. It feels so good, XIII. She has released enough fluids at this point to allow easy flow in movements. Every time our hips connect, there is a slight wet slap. The pressure has built a little past halfway, and I can't hold it back anymore. I tap her hip multiple times really fast, but she doesn't get off. She buries me as deep as possible and squeezes me super tight. Her body rocks as I release her into that light spot and fill her deep. I think I fill a chamber, which means this is her womb. I never said I'd pull you out. She squeezes me over and over as I continue to unload. As this happens, I get a notification. Congratulations, as the first player to have intercourse with an NPC that has an affection of deeply loved or higher, you get a reward. Controlled fun, active. Description: you can control if your partner gets knocked up or not. Just look at said partner and scan them with this. Once you do, it turns off pregnancy risks. My head spins at the pleasure of her constant squeezing. My release is starting to slow down and stops as she quits squeezing me. She lifts her hips off my rod, and I watch a white paste leak out of her. She looks at me with a smile full of satisfaction. You filled me deep with white-hot lava. This is the first time I've ever felt any pleasure from something like this. She leans back down and kisses me some more. I close my eyes and enjoy the kiss, and we slowly move our lips in little movements. She lays on my side and sighs in satisfaction. I don't think we are going to find an inn tonight. I chuckle at her words. A change of plans has happened. I stare up at the ceiling with my eyes halfway open. I look at the top of Sally's head and use my new skill. An information panel pops up. Sally has a 50% chance of getting pregnant after the actions that have taken place. Since she is so late in her menstrual cycle, the chances are much lower this time around. Normally it'd be in the high 80s or low 90s depending on how soon you have released into her at the beginning of a new cycle. Do you wish to bring this chance down to 0%? Y/N. I immediately think yes, and the 50% changes to 0. I make a small sigh in satisfaction. I thought you would pull out. That was a sneak move, Sally. She giggles slightly, and she runs her hands through my soft wings and cuddles them. I don't know how to react to that. While it felt really good to do so, it was really irresponsible. You're lucky I have a skill that allows me to control if you get pregnant or not. She lifts her head and gives an impressed look. She opens her mouth, but I speak before she can. Yes, I do have a skill that convenient. No, that doesn't mean we'll do it more now that we have this safety net to fall on. She puffy out her cheeks in slight disappointment. She lays back down and snuggles up. I open my stats to see the new skill in my active area. Slayer, XIII, LVL.90. EXP, 1/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, hidden, +3 more. Stats. Strength, 2095 Endurance, 2045 Dexterity, 2215 Speed, 2240 Focus, 14660. Mana Aura Control, 5/100%. Health, 16,560,000/16,560,000,000 Mana, 146,600,000/146,600,000,000. Stat points, 0 Armor rating, 500. Inventory. Passive perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL.9325/900 protected by Heaven LVL.9225/900/LVL.224600/13000 Parry LVL.380/300 Double Strike N/A King Slayer N/A Raging Machine N/A Winged Glory Angelic Flight Divine Pressure Exertion Divinity Pulse Controlled Fun. I toggle my wings off so I won't forget to. Having them out is like second nature. Sometimes I forget they are even there. Sally protests slightly but relaxes again. I look at her and smile at her. I watch her blush and bury her face in my ribs. I get a new notification, and it's about Sally. Sally's affection stat has risen from deeply loved to beloved. You have received a new quest. Sally's past. Description: help Sally in her quest for vengeance against all the men that tortured and sexually assaulted her growing up. Help her punish the Elven Kingdom for their ways. Objective 1: when the time comes, Sally will ask you for your direct help in this matter. Rewards: unknown. Difficulty: legendary. Note: the great difficulty of this quest is the goals that Sally has set in revenge. If they weren't so great, then the difficulty wouldn't be so high. It has been known that once an NPC's trust and affection reach a certain level, they can give you quests. It looks like Sally and I will be sticking together for the long run. I love you very much, XIII. I want you to know that. My cheeks redden slightly at her proclamation. I kiss the top of her head to show affection too. That's a good enough response for me. She sits up with joy and kisses me several times. She calms down and relaxes after planting several kisses on my lips and my face. She is all sweet and no spice. I'm really glad I found Sally. She has proven to be more than just a person to travel with. Chapter 182, The Heist of Bellvia 7. We lay in the soft bed and enjoy the calmness of the night. Sally is already asleep and using me as a pillow instead of the actual pillows. I stare up at the dark ceiling in the dimly lit room. As a first time, I'd say that went well. I only lasted a few minutes. Sally only lasted a few minutes too, so I don't think the standard is set very high, which is a very nice thought. The events that have taken place to lead up to this situation aren't going to present themselves again. I close my eyes and think about the next step to take, and that step is finding a crew to rob the treasure room. To find a crew, I need to talk to someone who knows the area inside and out. The most common people who know things like this are the old. I could head back into that underground town, but that place is filled with common criminals and bandits. They are not professionals who know how to pull off a complex job like this. The professions I'm looking for would have a separate place to meet and talk, one of neutral ground and secrecy. Finding a place like that in a huge city like Belvia isn't going to be a single-day job. Getting into contact with people as skilled as I won't happen at the snap of my fingers either. They would only talk to someone who has a reputation themselves, which I don't have. The true complexity of this job isn't going to be as easy as walking up to someone and getting all the answers I want. There is a network I have to follow. Since I'm not a famous criminal, that means I'll have to be a prospective buyer. If a crew can't be found, then I'll bring them to me. This is going to be a huge cost. The last place that was successfully hit was the treasure room of XIII. They were at war, and the thieves took advantage of that. Hold on, I can knock out 3 birds with 1 stone. I can use the same method that the robbers used in XIII here, with my own touch and spin. Once I have the crew assembled and prepared, I can cause a distraction. I can use my authority as the grandson of the Almighty Father to cause chaos. The information on Belvia's sins is sure to cause an uproar, while I'm causing such an uproar. The heist can commence. I can get information on Ulmaruna and complete that quest and free the Dryads once I get the information on the curse. While these two are happening, there will be chaos. The heist can go down without any problems. Thus 3 birds, 1 stone. However, I have to think this over for any possible holes, one of those identified early. If I'm discovered before I can set this plan in motion, it will be naught. Another thing I'm overlooking is Sally's involvement with this. She has many useful skills and can help with this plan a lot. A half-elf won't go unnoticed, though, and a hood won't hide the more perceptive people. Those are the real problem. The ones in charge have ways of learning things, seeing things. I have to distract the ones who are watching for people like me. I'll need a crew filled with one-of-a-kind talented people. Belvia won't have any of that, not out in the open. Unknown to Sarah, there is a group of 3 individuals in Belvia at this exact moment, plotting their own revenge. These 3 people being Creature Man, Ghost Zero, and Creelder. It so happens that their plan for vengeance aligns with Sarah's plan for the Dice of Wayland. The only question is, how do these people meet? While all this is happening in Belvia, there is a discussion between the top guilds in a neutral valley east of Iwilir's range. The meeting is between Wilted Rose, Sir Ericsson, and Drac Blade. The one starting off this meeting is Wilted Rose. This meeting is, of course, about current events and XIII. I look at my 2 fellow guild members, and I can see both of them have added and gained strength to their guilds. My willow tree has also been growing, but the competition has never been fiercer at this point, and now that XIII has been revealed to us, it's time to renegotiate what we originally agreed upon. We all know that the meeting was going to come to this point. We need to discuss what we are going to do about XIII now that he is revealed to us. As I address the biggest topic of this meeting, the other 2 here quiet down and place contemplating looks on their faces. I notice that Sir Ericsson is more content with where this is going. It's become known by the major guilds that Sir Ericsson is protecting and looking after XIII's family. He definitely knows more about XIII than we do, and one of his top guild members turned in the information and got a legacy class and gear of similar grade. Sir Ericsson, you are not obligated in any way to give us any information about XIII. However, in these sensitive times, the players need someone to look to and know about. If we can humanize XIII, the players will have security knowing someone powerful is on their side. Darkblade tries to sell that bullshit to Ericsson, and I sigh inwardly. Sir Ericsson gives Darkblade a knowing glare and begins to laugh out loud. You may find this matter laughable, but the players, the humans from Earth, need him. Ericsson quiets down and closes his eyes. He takes a breath and looks at Darkblade with a red face from laughing. In truth, I know very little about XIII. His family is currently a part of my guild, but I don't bother them out of respect for XIII. If I caused trouble for them and found out, my guild would be gone the next day. We have no idea what kind of power he has. What if he can somehow disband guilds? I don't want to find out the hard way. I can hear some sincerity behind his words. I doubt a single player would have that much power though. In his shoes, I'd do the same thing. This puts him at a huge advantage, though, and we are just going to have to deal with it. The fact he has a legendary class in his ranks is enough to make me mad. I'm even more peeved it's a blacksmith class. I sigh and close my eyes. I have to be the leader my guild needs. I can't go hunting for XIII. So this is Sir Ericsson's win. My priorities are much greater now, and with the shitstorm we're in, this seems like the only opportunity we'll have to talk for a long time. This XIII situation isn't going to go anywhere anytime soon. We don't even know where he is, and if Ericsson did, he wouldn't be here right now. I announce my deduction, and I see the calculating look in both their eyes. I suggest we all dissolve the first pact we made and focus on our own goals. If you manage to convince XIII to join you, I'll be more impressed than jealous. It's obvious that he wants nothing to do with guilds. The confident smiles fade, and the thought-filled looks burst forth. They are both in their own worlds thinking, whether or not to dissolve the pact now. I can see why Darkblade hesitates, but Sir Ericsson never wanted the pact to begin with. It makes no sense why he might remotely want the pact to stay in action. I want to keep the pact in action. The more information we all know about XIII, the better. We can share whatever we know with the general player population. Darkblade's use of the remaining people from Earth is obvious, but Ericsson's silence actually worries me. Why, in a million years, would he want the pact to remain? He has way more information than he is giving us, which violates the pact. What will we do to call him on it? Nothing bad will happen to him. He loses nothing and gains more than something. He looks hard at Darkblade and shifts his gaze back to me. What if I told both of you that I've come into information regarding the location of XIII? My body stiffens instantly. This is some sort of trick. There is no way he would share this kind of information. Darkblade has the same thoughts as me with the look on his face. Oakman, don't give me that look. I may be a shrewd man, but what you truly know about me is very little. I don't believe those words for a second. He is playing some sort of game here. If I tell you, what's it worth? He is looking to swindle the fool here. I wonder who the bigger fool is, the one who thinks he can fool us, or one of us taking that risk. Contact my courier when you are ready to discuss a price. He walks away, and that leaves the pact still in action, but at this point, that's worthless. Chapter 183, The Heist of Belvia 8. My eyes are feeling heavy, and it's later into the night than it already was. The plan I have needs the right crew to pull off. So that's what I'll be working on first, finding the crew that I'll need for this. It could take a while or a day to find. It really depends on where I start looking first. I've thought enough about this for one night. I should follow Sally's lead and sleep myself. I let my eyes close and slowly drift into sleep. This is a night when I get to sleep in a nice soft bed and not on the cold hard ground. My half-asleep thoughts wander to the body in the basement. He is an official of Belvia. Other than that, I know nothing about him. His role in the government here could play a vital role, and killing him might bring too much heat. The sooner we get out of here tomorrow, the better. My mind finally rests, and I fall completely asleep. While Sarah sleeps through the night, many things are going on around Gaia. One of those being a secret meeting. This secret meeting is between the Pope and the head of the Church's spy network. The Pope usually doesn't handle things like this personally, but said head spy had found valuable news that only the Pope should hear. The secret meeting is being held in the bowls of the Church, where no one can overhear or spy on their conversation. The first one to speak is the Pope, of course. The head of the spy network has no name. He hides his face and only goes by a code name. That code name being Hidden Veil. I look at Hidden Veil. Out of all the spies I know, he is the most secretive. He knows more about our enemies and friends than we do. As the head of the spy network for the Church, he knows more than Lucy and me combined. I've rarely had encounters with the man. The only times we talked were when the matter at hand was of utmost importance. You have called me here for a reason. We don't have much time to sit here in silence, and I'd like to get some sleep tonight. He remains unmoving, and I don't see a hint of compliance. Usually, I wouldn't tolerate such disrespect. However, I can't punish him. I don't even know who he truly is. If you don't speak in the next 10 seconds, I'm leaving. He remains still and calm at my threat. At the 9-second mark, I hear him take a light breath. I have come across information that is both vital to the war and the Church's search. I harden my look and steel my nerves. If what Hidden Veil says is true, then this meeting is only meant for the Church's top officials. I nod my head for him to continue. He pulls out a scroll from his bag and rolls it out in front of me. I look at it, and it's some old map. Heavy monster forces are guarding this area. It's an old site that originally had no value. At first, we wondered why the monsters were so interested in it, so we sent in scouts to find out. I look at the ancient map and notice how big these ruins are. I nod my head to continue, and I watch him pull out another scroll. This time when it unrolls, I have shivers go up my spine. It's an angel's halo. It's a metal ring with a light going through the center. This is an angel's halo. While completely useless to us humans, it can be used for certain things. Locating other angels on Gaia is one. I think the monsters are searching the ruins to find the unpowered halo. I already know where this conversation is heading. Once they find the halo and power it, they can use it to find XIII. They might already have, since finding it will be the easy part. Powering it is the hard part. They are constructing some magical machine on site. I take a deep breath and release a long sigh. I pinch the bridge of my nose as I sit down in the chair under me. This could be disastrous. If the monsters find out where XIII is before we do, they can send countless hordes after him, endangering him and all the people that might be around him. What are we supposed to do about this Hidden Veil? Our forces are spread thin as it is, this war is ramping up on both sides, and we can't afford to send troops to a remote ruin in the middle of nowhere. We'll need a strike force and a battalion to assault a ruin this big filled with monsters. There are more and more new problems every day. We are running out of solutions even faster. This adds another thing at the top of the priority list. Tell me what you need to do this OP, and I'll see it filled. We might as well get this operation on the road. He lightly nods his head and unrolls another scroll filled with things he needs. I start to read it, and I can feel a pit in my stomach just from the few things on this list. These aren't going to be cheap. Are you sure this is going to go how you said it would if we don't interfere? He nods his head, and that seals the deal. Getting the troops for you will be the easy part. I'll contact Lucy and our strongest soldiers. I'll get back to you in 1 day for the operation once everything on the list is fulfilled. With those final words, he turns around and leaves. I'm left with my own thoughts to ponder this new problem. This could prove to be a way for us to find XIII too. If we can get that old halo and power it ourselves, we'll have a way to always to find XIII. I roll up the scrolls and carry them up to my office. I sit down in my comfy chair and think about all the shit this will cause. I should contact Lucy immediately. As all this is happening, the night passes, and the sun rises. The two sleeping in a dead man's house begin to wake up, and they aren't the only ones. Creature Man, Ghost Zero, and Creelder are also getting up. They are currently staying in a safe house under an old abandoned orphanage. The entirety of Belvia is beginning to wake up for the day, and all the criminals are on their way back to the underground. Sarah is just starting to get up when he notices a weight that doesn't want to move just yet. The mornings after sleeping in a nice bed are like that. I lean up and rub my eyes. I feel a light weight on my chest, trying not to move. The sun is shining through the two windows in this room, and that when I place the sheets over our nude bodies. It's time to wake up Sally. I move and sit on the edge of the bed while she snuggles the sheets in protest. I stand up and equip my gear in an instant. I look at her and see her eyes are still shut. I'm going downstairs to raid the dead man's kitchen. If you meet me down there in 5 minutes, I'll make something for you too. I make my way to the door and leave as I hear movement coming from the bed. Sally has to dress manually. I don't, since I can equip and unequip things. I make my way to the kitchen and start looking through the cupboards. There are countless enchantments to keep the food fresh and edible. I look through the cupboards for any meat products for protein and eventually come across the steak. I pull it out and make my way over to the magic stove. I look at the weird controls, and I sigh inwardly. I find the right pan and place it on top of the stove. I turn it to what I assume to be medium power, and it instantly reaches cooking temp. I slap the meat on the pan and listen to it sizzle. It's been months since I've hand cow steak, and the smell it's giving off is driving me absolutely crazy. I hear quickly running from upstairs and soon down the stairs. I look over to the kitchen entrance, and a fully clothed Sally walks in. I give her a small smile, and she blushes as she reciprocates. She walks over and smells the food too. You'll get your half, so go sit at the table and wait for it. She rolls her eyes and head to the table. I focus on cooking the steak and making sure not to overcook it. How do you like your steaks anyway? She informs me that she likes medium rare, just like I do. Sweet, I stop cooking them, knowing they are done. Alright, time to dig into some decent food for a change. I cut the steak in half and prepare to plates. I get everything ready and bring them over to the table. I set them down, and Sally immediately starts to eat. I follow suit and dig in myself. The next few days will be busy, so it's best to enjoy this while we can. Chapter 184, The Heist of Belvia 9. I finish the last little bit of my steak, and I savor the taste. Sally finished a few bites before me. She can really put the food down. I have neglected regular meals and general hygiene cause we don't have access to a kitchen and bathroom regularly. It was super nice to get cleaned up yesterday. The feeling of a body free of grime and dried sweat is amazing. Sadly, I can't afford that luxury on the regular. Perhaps I could in terms of gold, but in terms of time, I can't. My schedule is constantly packed with travel, combat, and long quests. Investing in a property might be a good idea. A place to go and rest once everything is done. That's a dream, though, cause the work is never done. Not in terms of never having to work again. I stand up and take the plates into the kitchen. We aren't going to be staying here again. Since the dead man downstairs has a secret passage in his basement, that means someone will eventually come through. Being here isn't going to be ideal. We won't be staying in this house, so let's get out of here and start looking for the crew we need. We'll stay at inns for the time being. Before anything though, we have to stop off at the bank. I need to withdraw funds from my account and restore the gold supply. I should have accumulated over 200 gold since the last time I withdrew. That amount of gold is enough to take care of our expenses while in Belvia. Sally nods her head in agreement with my priority list and begins walking towards the door. Don't forget to wear your hood. She stops mid-step and groans. She places the hood on her head to hide her face and ears. It really does suck that she has to do this because of prejudice and racism. She has the worst of both worlds. She is shunned and ridiculed by both societies. The elves and humans will never change. At least, I don't think they will. So I take it the first place we are heading to is the bank. I nod my head, confirming her words. I walk past her and open the front door to the house. We walk out and begin to look at the slightly dilapidated streets of Belvia. The district we are in right now seems to be on the higher quality side, but I can still see the decay from lack of care. The government must be severely corrupt to let their capital city sink this far into disrepair. The streets are moderately filled with the poor, and most of the people I do see with decent clothing are still dirty in some way. This is one of the most disgusting cities I've ever seen. I hear Sally whisper out some words that crossed my mind. If the higher society streets look like this, I can't imagine what the middle and poor class streets look like. Even the guards patrolling the streets as we walk have old and outdated armor. Are you sure they even have a bank here in Belvia? By the looks of everything, you would think they don't have any money. You can tell how greedy a government is by looking at the things they are responsible for. The king of Belvia, Quinton Merle, must be lining his pockets with the country's money. We walk through the more and more depressing streets of Belvia, and I'm starting to notice a pattern. The people, the poor ones, are getting sicker and sicker looking the farther we get away from the city center. Banks are usually located near the church branch and/or near the city's entrance, which is where we are heading. Even basic healthcare is neglected. Don't get close to any of the sick, Sally. I don't know how contagious they are or what they have. I'd rather not risk you getting sick. My stats are probably too high for me to get sick, but I'd rather not find out if that's true or not. We continue walking the road we are on, and I see the bank and church up ahead. They are across the street from each other. I make sure to keep out of view of the church and the newly forming crowds. We walk into the bank as the day starts. We woke up a little earlier than everyone else, it seems. I look at the lineless teller booths and see how old the bank looks. A single female banker teller waves us over with a gentle smile. I walk up to the booth and give her the relevant information for my account. I'd like to withdraw all of my current funds. She nods her head and finally looks at my account balance. Her face goes pale, and she looks at me in worry. She tells me to wait for a couple of minutes while she goes and gets the manager. My account is under the name Slayer, so it doesn't have anything to do with my identity. If anything, they might not have the funds to give me my money. The thought of a government being run like this really makes me ponder the direction this world is heading. 'Cause this is behavior that the leaders on Earth would do. After a minute or so, the woman comes back with the manager. He looks the same shade of white as the teller. Are you sure you want to withdraw such a large amount of money? There are risks to carrying around that much. Perhaps it would be best if you only took out 50 of your 360. I hate this entire conversation. I sigh and roll my neck. Guys like this won't let up no matter what. I'll take your silence as agreement. I shoot him a hard glare, and his attempt is shut down. I walk up to the man, and as I get closer, he shakes more and more. I'm several inches taller than him, and I look down at him. Give me my money. I watch both him and the bank teller shake in slight fear. He slowly backs up and nods his head. They both leave into the back, where the safe is located. Sally walks up beside me and leans her shoulder on my arm. I was perhaps a little too violent with that action, but it's my money. I shouldn't be denied. Once we are done here, we are heading to the most popular bars. The people we want to talk to are the bartenders. They know who's who and where to point us if they know anything. She slowly nods her head, and I feel as though the time I'm going to spend in Belvia will be the longest time I've stayed in one location. We stand in silence as the two come back with a few sacks filled with gold. They set them on the counter and have a look of defeat and desperation. "You are a cruel son of a bitch," I hear the manager speak directly at me. It looks like he grew a backbone. "Do you have any idea the kind of trouble we are in now? You have doomed so many innocent lives. The problems that they are involved with aren't mine. I can tell by the look on your face that you don't give a damn. The people in this area need our bank. Thanks to you, we'll get shut down." He can't play on my emotions, but it's working on Sally. She tugs on the bottom of my leather chest piece in a sign for me to do something. I sigh and lean over the counter. "If there are any problems with anyone, I'll find out, and I'll handle it. Lie to your boss for all I care, blame me, and have their focus shift to me. I'll kill them all, so don't fret. You are already losing your hair." I stand up straight and turn around at their looks of disbelief. Sally is beaming with happiness. It looks like I did the right thing in her eyes. Normally I wouldn't do that, but they say women can soften the most callous hearts for a reason. So that you know, I'm not going to do that again. This place is already becoming a headache, and we haven't even found a crew yet. She smiles as we walk down the road. She pulls on my arm in an indication to stop, and I do. She stands on her tippy toes and kisses me on the cheek. She gives me a couple more kisses and then stops. "Despite what you think of yourself, I see a really deep and complex man. I'm positive that you would have done something to help anyway, even if I weren't there. You have a beautiful mind and an open heart. People may not see it, but I do." I blush slightly at Sally's words. I've never had someone say something so nice to me. Even if it isn't true, she still only sees the angel half of me. Once that human half comes out, her idea of me will change. "Come on, let's start our search." She gets my mind back on track, and we begin our walk again. Time to ask the bartenders in town for information. Chapter 185, The Heist of Belvia X. We have been searching all damn day and not a single piece of useful information from any bartender. It's already late evening, and I'm pretty mad that we couldn't get anything remotely done. Asking around the people who know the most about the criminals didn't work. That only leaves us a few more options to find a crew we are looking for. The next set of people to ask would be the older population here in Belvia. They have been around the longest and know things too. I speak the next part of our search out loud so Sally can hear it. She groans and slumps forward just a bit. The amount of talking done today has really drained her, and I'll admit I'm quite tired myself. This whole search has panned nothing so far, and we wasted an entire day. We walk down the slightly busy road and pass places we already checked. After a few minutes, we come to one of the better-looking inns here in Belvia. Sally has kept her hood on all day, and we haven't gotten any problems regarding her. So I think it's safe to say the chances of getting found out are low. We walk into the inn and notice that a party is just starting to ramp up. We should get a room before any of this gets out of hand. I agree with Sally. This is going to get out of hand very soon. We walk up to the innkeeper, and she looks at us. She is almost middle-aged looking. Before I say anything, she closes her eyes and turns around. I watch her go into a little cubby hole and pull out a key. She places it on the table and looks back at me. "That'll be 5 silver. All I have is gold, so I pull out a gold coin and place it on the counter. I pick up the key and wait for her to tell me where the room is. Upstairs all the way down the hall on the right. It's the farthest away from the party that's spiraling out of control." I turn towards the stairs with the key in hand and begin walking. We climb the stairs and make it to our room. I unlock the door and open it. We walk in and notice that it's decorated and clean. A queen-sized bed that looks as soft as it is big. Sally quickly flops down on the bed, releasing a deep relaxed sigh. The first thing she takes off is her boots. I watch her rub them and try to make them feel better. I walk towards the bed and lay down. I unequip everything except for my underwear. It's nice to relax after a long day of no results. I watch Sally stand and begin to undress. I turn on my side to give her privacy. I close my eyes, wondering if we'll even find a crew for this job. I already have the plan all worked out. I need a crew to hit the treasure room while I cause the distraction. In my thoughts, I feel Sally climb back into the bed and quickly press her body on my back. She has her underwear on, but she might have ulterior motives. I hope you aren't trying for anything, old woman. She pinches my cheek and twists it. She is technically an old woman at 103 years old, but her elf blood keeps her from aging. I hear her giggle slightly and stop pinching me. It didn't hurt. Of course, my high stats prevented it. You're lucky I like you. So what's the plan for tomorrow? Other than talking to old people? 'Cause if that doesn't work, we might have to go back into that underground town and ask around. I don't want to go back down there as much as you do, but we might not have another choice. Sally brings up a great point. After this, our only options are finding a bribed official or going back into that underground town. Nobody saw our faces last time we were down there, but I'd rather not risk anything dangerous. The hardest part of this entire operation is getting a crew together, one with enough skill and talent to do this heist as fast as possible. I roll on my back again, and Sally readjusts so she can still hold on to me. This is the first time in a long time that I'm going to be stuck. This heist of the treasure room, it's too important. I might end up overlooking a crucial part of the plan, and that could spell disaster for us. Everything we have come to gain in our travels, I fear that this city could cause certain calamity for us. Belvia is a pit of lies, chaos, and corruption I have never witnessed before. I can only imagine what this place was like when they cursed the Dryads. Sally hugs me a little tighter from my words. I have so much more to lose now. Sally has become far more important to me than I ever thought possible. She is the one I'm most worried about losing. I stare at the ceiling as we lay on the bed in silence. I slowly close my eyes and clear my head. All that remains in my thoughts is a vast whiteness. Completely clear and free of thought. I find myself asleep before long. While Sarah and Sally sleep, other conversations are happening in Belvia. A certain group of 3 has heard whispers that a person is searching for a capable crew. These 3 are in their hideout under an abandoned orphanage in Belvia. The one leading this discussion is a man, after all. They think that whatever this person is planning might line up with what they are planning to do. In the dimly lit hidden room, a discussion begins about a potential conversation with Sarah. Both Ghost Zero and XIII are thinking the same thing I am. This person asking around could be useful in our plans for revenge. We don't exactly know what he is planning, but from the sounds of it, it needs a crew as good as us. I think we should watch him for a day and find out all the information we can about him. If he proves to have some skill in helping us, we can see if we can combine plans. XIII speaks before any of us can. I agree with his idea. I'd rather learn as much as possible from watching him before we make any contact. If anyone else has a better idea, I'd like to hear, 'cause in all honesty, it's the first thing that came to mind. XIII speaks with honesty. However, I like this quick plan. I can't immediately think of anything much better. It's not like we can read the guy's thoughts. He was also traveling with a woman. She wears a hood, so I don't know what she looks like. The best guess is they are concealing her identity, so it doesn't cause any problems. She must be a non-human. Ghost Zero gives some information about the person he is traveling with. It's not a coincidence that these 2 arrived here in the same time frame as the massacre in the town underground. It's safe to say they are strong, but no one knows how much. All the ones that could say are dead. Ghost Zero is giving a lot of great information. He has spent the most time outside this hideout, so it goes without saying. I lean back in my chair as I process all this information. We need extra people to help pull off this plan, and they sound like they can fit that role. All we need to do is test their power. I suggest after we are done watching them, we see how strong they really are. Hiring some mercs to attack them won't be hard. Both Creelder and Ghost Zero nod their heads in agreement. We have an executable plan now. All that's left is to wait for them to pop up again. They aren't too discreet, so that means they are in a hurry. Let's go over our targets again. Creelder lays a map of the palace out, and he points to 3 rooms, each with different names in them. Each one has the subject of our revenge in them. Just seeing their names makes my blood boil. The meeting continues under the abandoned orphanage. The night in Belvia passes slowly as crime runs through the streets. After a busy night for the guards, the sun rises, and a new day starts as the long shadows are cast from the barely rising sun. Many people are just getting up, including Sarah and Sally, since today marks another day of searching. I wake up as the morning sun shines through the window. I lean up, and Sally rises with me since she uses me as a pillow. We didn't even sleep under the sheets, and I gentle peel Sally off me and lay her back down. I stand up and equip my armor. I'm pretty hungry, and the inn should start serving food soon. Chapter 186, The Heist in Bellvia 11. I make my way towards the door of the room, and that's when I hear shuffling coming from the bed. Sally sits up with sleep still in her eyes. I'm going downstairs for some food. They should be serving breakfast any time now. I'll see you down there. I walk out the door as Sally proceeds to stand up and stumble to her pile of clothes. I make my way downstairs, and the inn is much more empty than it usually is. Most inns are busy from dawn to dusk, and when it isn't, it's a bad sign. The only people in here are some heavily geared people, most likely from the Adventurers Guild. I walk up to the counter and sit down. I can already smell delicious food being cooked. My stomach growls as the seasoning and scent enter my nose. As I enjoy the scent, Sally quickly comes down the stairs wearing her hood and joins me at the counter. You could have waited, you know it's the polite thing to do. She still sounds very tired and groggy. I chuckle and remember all the times I was in a similar state. Before I can start talking, a lady comes out of the kitchen and walks right towards us. She holds a notepad waiting for us to give our orders. I look to Sally to order first, ladies after all. I'll have whatever smells so good. The lady smiles and jots down an order. She then looks at me, waiting for my order. I say to give me whatever Sally is having, and she heads into the back to talk to the cooks. So talking to the elderly is what's on the docket today? I nod my head as I continue to smell the delicious food being cooked. I swivel my seat and point my body out towards the mostly empty room. I take a better look at the few guys in here. None of them even have a drink in front of them, and it doesn't seem like they have ordered anything. My suspicion grows the more I think about it. Why would an inn be empty like this? So close to breakfast too, it just doesn't make any sense. I see that some of their eyes shift on and off from us every few seconds. I see now. They are going to cause trouble for us specifically. I can only guess why. We probably drew the wrong kind of attention when we were asking around yesterday. Have your guard up, Sally. We have company, I whisper to her as I turn my back to them and face the area where all the booze is. Sally tilts her head at me, wondering an explanation. The guys out there, they are here to cause trouble for us. Please don't make any moves unless they do first. I don't want to paint the walls of this place red like last time. She nods her head as I whisper to her. After another minute or so, 2 plates of food are carried out of the kitchen and laid down in front of us. It's mashed potatoes, sirloin steak, with a side of bacon and eggs. She gives us the silverware and heads back into the kitchen with a smile. I pick up my plate, swivel around in my seat again, and begin eating my food as I watch the men. So who hired you guys to target us? I'd love to meet the person. I watch all their bodies stiffen, and their postures go from relaxed to ready to fight. I continue to eat the delicious food and patiently wait for an answer. I must have caused something with my questions yesterday. If it's enough for some well-qualified person to hire mercs, I think I was knocking on the right doors. They all share looks between each other and slowly stand up. I'm barely through my mashed potatoes too. I'd rather not stain my delicious food with your guys' blood. So I'll let you walk away and make sure to tell whoever hired you that if they want me dead, they'll have to do it themselves. They look at each other and slowly back out the door to the inn and onto the outside road. These guys are on the smarter side of the mercs you find from time to time. Whoever orders this obviously has money, a noble or well-off merchant perhaps. Maybe even a criminal. I turn back around and place my plate on the counter. I continue eating the hot food, and I look at Sally as I do. Her head is covered, and only her mouth is visible. Thanks for not dicing them into little pieces. I'd rather not puke up this delicious food. I roll my eyes at Sally's sarcasm. I'm glad I didn't have to kill them either. Sometimes you come across people smart enough to know they aren't strong enough even to hurt you. Do you think we'll find our crew today? 'Cause I'm already sick of searching. I am too. I'd rather be getting the rewards for these quests I have than searching around town for a crew that probably doesn't exist. I sigh as the only response, and Sally understands what my sigh entails. Great. Yeah, I agree. After some time, we finish our food, and nothing is left on the plates. I pull out 3 gold coins and lay them down. Yes, it's overpaying. I don't care, though. It's not like I'm going to run out of money. We both stand up and make our way towards the exit of the inn. We'll start at the places that old people would likely be. Parks, community centers. If we can't find something by then, we'll check the church. Thinking of that, I'll need to get myself a hood too. Let's handle that first. They likely know what I look like since they now have my name. Hiding my face will help with some things. However, it isn't a permanent solution. Things like this never are. I'll have to deal with politics and governments sooner rather than later. I have to do it for my plan to work here in Belvia. It'll be weird having royalty treat me in such ways. Not all of them will, but I'm not going to punish them for it. I saw a really nice shop yesterday that we passed. They might have hoods. Sounds perfect. I nod my head for her to lead the way, and she does. Out of all the required things for this heist, finding a crew is the biggest pain in my ass. I can't be connected to the heist of the treasure room, so that's why I need a crew to handle that part. Once they start the operation, I'll walk into the palace and throne room, reveal myself, and demand the things I need to complete my 2 quests involving the Dryads. I wouldn't doubt that I'll need to head back to where this whole quest began once I have the information. Once I'm done with these quests, I'll be above level 100. That means I'll be heading to the country of Avalon. That never existed in my old future, so that's going to be a cool place to see. Another creation that has resulted from my actions. I should also stop by Zenith on my way there, say hi to Amelia and Jackson. Zenith won't have an alarm system notifying them I'm near since they are in the coalition, and the coalition refused to have any of that installed. The same goes for Belvia. I wonder what'll happen when I do visit a place with said alarm system. That's the store up there. My thoughts are interrupted as Sally points to the store in excitement. She quickly walks ahead of me and enters the store. It seems she wanted to visit this place. I make it to the door, and she is already talking to the cashier about things in the store. She still has her hood on, and the cashier is a little nervous because of it. Calm down, Sally, you're scaring the poor woman. I walk up beside her, and Sally looks at me in confusion. I tilt my head at the cashier, and she sees the look on her face. She apologizes multiple times and becomes very bashful. I decide to take over. Would you happen to have any hoods matching my current style? I'd rather not have some unmatching hood with my leather gear. Speaking of gear, it'll be time to upgrade it soon. The hardened tree sap armor that I've been wearing has been amazing, but I'll need something to complement my stats. I have a feeling a huge war is around the corner. The cashier nods with a calmer expression now and heading into the back to probably look at inventory for my request. My hardened tree sap armor has been pasted over with the look over leather armor. You could do that before all of us players got stuck here, and that function disappeared. Is it alright if I can get something? I hear Sally ask me a question in a very small voice. I take a look around the store from our position and see all the beautiful dresses. Now it makes total sense why she wanted to come here. I nod my head, yes, and she takes off to look at clothes with a smile on her face. She probably has never owned a dress before, and if she wants to have her first one right now, who am I to say no? Chapter 187, The Heist of Bellvia 12. As Sally excitedly looks at dresses and clothes in general, I look at the 3 quests I have here in Belvia. These 3 quests are my bane right now. All will be completed in due time. I'll have new quests to find after these, and with the completion of these quests, I'll probably not have much to do aside from heading to Avalon. As I'm thinking about where all this is going, a thought crosses my mind. How is my real family doing? Haley and Marcus got their legendary classes, and they will have no problems in terms of getting what they want. That leaves Mom and Dad. I haven't heard anything regarding them in the world announcements. I take one last look at the 3 quests I have to do while they are still in front of me on my quest panel. Quest, the false one. Description: you have found the truth about Belvia and their involvement with the Dryads, and you have found out about the curse and who made it. You will have a choice to make. Only one of the following objectives can be completed. Objective 1, expose the kingdom of Belvia and have them pay for their crimes. Objective 2, find the weakness of the curse and use it to free the Dryads and return them to Ancient's world. Objective 3, now that you are in Belvia, finding the right person to talk to is important. How you do this is up to you. Quality, legendary. Rewards, hidden. Quest, an abomination. Description: find the research and notes of Ulmaruna on her development of the curse. Objective 1, find Ulmaruna's lab in Belvia's capital and bring the notes and research papers back to Flint. Objective 2, hidden. Quality, epic. Heist of Belvia's treasure vault. Description: break into Belvia's treasure vaults and retrieve the Dice of Wayland. Objective 1, once in Belvia, find a group that can help you pull off the heist. Objective 2, once you have the Dice of Wayland, keep them until the right time to use them. Difficulty, legendary. Rewards, anything you can take from the vaults other than the Dice of Wayland. These are quests I would have never gotten in my old future. All these fantastic quests are thanks to my class. Blue Chaos was treated with the same quality of quests. We have a perfect match for your current armor set. Let me know when you are ready to purchase. Your girlfriend seems to be having fun. My thoughts are broken as the cashier comes out from the back room and speaks to me. I almost correct her about that girlfriend comment, but it's not really that important. I'll be in the back for a little bit. When you are ready to order and ring the bell. She points at the bell sitting on the counter, and I nod my head. She walks into the back room again, leaving the hood on the counter. I turn and see Sally heading to a dressing room with several different clothes. She won't get many chances to have fun like this, so I see no reason to cut any of her fun short. We still have a lot to do today, but we can spare some time. I hear the door to the shop open, and several wealthy-looking women come in. All are late 20s and early 30s. They also have personal guards and butlers waiting on them. The guards are waiting outside while the butlers stay with the women. The lady comes out the back, and I get out of the way as they approach the counter. How are the Holton sisters today? The cashier speaks with kindness and formality. I mind my own business looking at the formal attire for men. I'd rather not hear anything from that conversation, but to my displeasure. They are loud and rambunctious. What seems to be the ringleader of these Holton sisters begins to speak. They all have matching blonde hair with varying eye colors. It's nice to see you, Jessie. I hope that you are stocked on inventory cause daddy has allowed us a big limit today. Definitely rich nobility or daughters of rich merchants. They chat back and forth about things that have come in since the last time they were here. I turn my gaze at them, wondering if I can deduce anything. Who knows, I might find something to help with my missions. They are wearing slim, elegant dresses, the ones that are the perfect length and width to walk around unimpeded. Daddy said that we have to spend this money. Something about maintaining budgets. Their father definitely holds a position of power. I make my way over to the dressing room and get out of range to hear their conversation. I can hear shuffling and bumps coming from the other side of the door. Sally must be shooting dresses and clothes on and off like crazy. Are you okay in there, Sally? I hear her eep in slight surprise. I hear quick shuffling and louder bumps this time around. She must be rushing to get herself decent so she can speak. Don't rush, Sally. I was checking on you. Some high society people walked in and are going to go on a huge spending spree. I would be cautious if I were you. If they come asking for the clothes in there. The shuffling slows down to a halt, and the door clicks open. A blushing Sally shows her face, and that's all she is showing me. I'll admit she is cute. Very cute, long blonde hair, blue-green eyes, and a light blush gracing her gentle features. Okay, now give me some privacy. Alright, it's embarrassing talking to you while I'm trying on clothes I've never worn before. I look at her in confusion. I don't see sense in that. She puffs her cheeks ever so slightly. I'm scared you won't think they look good on me. All you've ever seen me in is the combat gear. I get it now. While I'm intelligent and rather perceptive, I still lack a good working knowledge of women. Sally's behavior really helps me see the differences that I didn't know about. I knew that women are picky with what they wear, but I had no idea who they're with affects that. I know why Haley had so many different clothes now. I don't know how we didn't go broke with her spending habits, another reason to be proud of Dad. I smile down at her and nod my head in understanding. She closes the door, and I stand guard. I watch the three sisters and the cashier from a distance. I can't make out what they are saying, but it's probably something that only happens in their social groups. After watching for a few minutes, they finally stop talking and begin to shop. The three split up and go to different parts of the store. There are many eyes on me from outside the shop. The guards are doing their jobs, and I can respect that. However, the glare from the butlers isn't very nice. The oldest male walks over to me and looks me up and down. I've never seen you in this shop before. This your first time buying from here? I chuckle slightly and nod my head. He fixes his monocle and squints his eyes. I could have sworn I've seen you before. I just can't place it. Forget it, I'm probably just going senile in my old age. At least he isn't rude. She looks at the door behind me and sees the shadow moving in it under the small crack at the bottom of the door. You must be shopping with your significant other. I apologize for interrupting you. Duke Holton insisted his daughters leave the estate for the day. As you probably heard, they are quite loud. I look at the butler and see a small glint in his eye as if he is testing me. They are daughters of a duke, which means they have a lot of money. Their father is most likely a criminal embezzling from the state, but that isn't my job to stop. I stand up straight and stop leaning on the way. I'm 6 inches taller than this butler. Just when I thought that you were actually nice, I really don't give a damn who their father is. I have more important things to worry and think about than some corrupt duke. I see the butler's face ever so slightly twitch as I call him out on his subtle attempt at intimidation. I suggest you and your wards stay on that side of the store. We don't want to make a mess of all these beautiful dresses, now do we? He straightens out and adjusts his monocle. He is about to speak, but I assume the youngest of the sisters turns a corner and sees us talking. She walks up with a joyful and innocent smile on her face. She looks around 27. She stops at the side of her butler, and I never break eye contact with him. I'm the alpha here, not him or any of his guards. Sorry if Truman was bothering you. He is rather overprotective of my sisters and me. He has been taking care of us since we were born. You are very attractive for a fighter. With looks like yours I'd assume you'd steal a noble girl's heart and live a life of luxury." As she utters those words there is a slight bang behind the door I'm guarding. "Unless you already found one." She gives a genuine smile and I hear Sally making more noise. Probably getting dressed in her original clothes to come out and stop this obvious flirting. "We are having a party at our estate in a few days, you and your partner should drop by. Come in, Truman." The noise behind the door gets even louder, and as she leaves with the butler, the door flies open with a flustered Sally. "I think that was jealousy. I've never had anyone be jealous. What a strange feeling." She looks at me for an explanation and I sigh slightly. Time to learn some more. Chapter 188, The Heist of Belvia 13. Sally looks at me in frustration. "That Holton sister was flirting, and next time I'll be sure to stop that. That butler, Truman, has some serious boundary problems. You could have stopped her from doing that. I know you aren't mine, but I don't like seeing or hearing that from other women when they talk to you. It makes me feel like I have to compete. I feel really bad now. I didn't know that's how she'd feel about that. If the situation were reversed, I wouldn't feel too happy. So I can see why this causes problems." I look at the clothes she has in the dressing room, and she looks to have picked out 2 of them. She sees me looking at them. "I really like the red one, so the red one is the one I'm buying." I lift it from its spot and take it to the counter with me. Sally follows behind me, and once at the counter, the cashier is wearing a big smile. "Will this be all you want today?" I nod my head, and she tells me the price for the red dress and leather hood. I pay the price, and I pick them up from the counter. I place the dress in my inventory so Sally or I won't have to carry it around. I equip the hood, so my features are now hidden. We leave the store, and many of the guards have their hands on the hilts of their swords, looking for a reason to draw them. We walk away silently and proceed to head to gathering places for old people. If we can't find anything, then I'm going to need to change my plan. I need a crew for my plan to work, and so far, I've got nothing. As Sarah and Sally continue their search, 3 brothers are having a conversation in their hideout. Creature Man is discussing what to do about this person with his brothers. Both Creelder and Ghost Zero have the same thoughts I do. This person is exactly who we need for our plan to work. The mercenaries we hired didn't even get a chance to test him. He found them out and dealt with them. It takes a person confident in their power to threaten bona fide murderers for hire. I think we should wait until they are done searching for today. After that, we can approach him and see if what we think is true. Ghost Zero speaks as we throw around ideas on speaking to this man without getting into a fight. I have no doubt we can win, but I don't want to blow our cover here. We are so close to our revenge. We all sit in silence, contemplating the simple solution that Ghost Zero has provided. It's actually quite sound, but I've noticed that the easier something is, the more things that could go wrong. Just walking up to him and talking in private isn't something that would normally happen when you're looking to pull off a job. That would cause one to panic and cancel anything they are doing. He could even rat us out if we reveal ourselves. We are infamous, after all. While I love how easy the job would be if we did it that way, I can't see it going right. Something will screw up, and all the work we have done will go to waste. I voice that it's too good to be true. We can set up a meeting with him, give him a reason to come to us. Didn't he recently withdraw a large sum of money from a poorer bank? We can use that to set up a meeting with him. All 3 of us contemplate this plan. It will allow us to bring him to a neutral location and not reveal our identities. That way, if he says no, we can continue our plan unhindered. I'll send some mercs to cause a ruckus at the bank they were at. We'll use the people at the bank as messengers, they'll send him to a location of our choosing, and then we'll talk to him. No identities and no risk. Creelder sums up the gist of the plan that we were all thinking of. It allows us to maintain control, not for his sake. For ours, we have too much to lose if we screw this up. We all nod our heads in agreement, and Creelder leaves the room to send the mercs to the bank. I don't like scaring innocents, but sometimes the hard choices are the safest ones. We have to be safe no matter what. I look at Ghost Zero now that it's just the two of us. Do you think we'll succeed? As brilliant as the planning is, we are missing a vital piece. A distraction big enough for us to kill our targets. If we can't find that distraction, then we're screwed. He is right in that regard. We need someone to distract everyone at the palace while we do our thing and take revenge. Do you really think this person is going to be hitting the palace too? 'Cause if so, this could be our golden ticket. I can only hope that this is the case. All the information we have gathered on this person is very little. The targets we are after will be easy to reach once inside. Getting inside is the hard part. An able distraction will create a blind spot, one we can exploit to get inside. I take a seat and relax my mind. Now, all we have to do is wait for Creelder to come back and tell us everything is set up. He'll be selecting the location, and he is just as skilled with those decisions as the rest of us. Rest while you can, Ghost Zero. The next few days will probably be full of planning and scouting locations of weakness. I can't remember the last time I got a full 8 hours of sleep since we arrived here in Belvia. Even as I say the word sleep, I get physically tired. While we are a very powerful group, everyone needs sleeps. We aren't an exception to that rule. The three of us could probably walk into the palace and take our revenge, but much innocent blood would be spilled, and we don't fight our battles like that. Not our personal ones, at least. I see Ghost Zero take a seat and release a long sigh. He has been less energetic ever since our mission with the Saintess ended. He never got a true chance to ask her for a proper date. When we finally get our revenge after all these long years, all these near-death fights, all the friends we have lost along the way. Do you think it'll feel worth it in the end? That we did the right thing by pursuing this? We are just entering our 20s, and all I can remember from my childhood was fighting and death. I have often thought like that, and when I do, I remember what they put her through, our mother. That makes the fuel burn hotter and brighter every time. So to me, it's worth it, more than anything. Once we are done, we'll be free to chase whatever our hearts desire. I take a breath and relax as much as possible while I still can. Yes, it'll be worth it in the end. The events in our lives have forged us into the men we are now. When it's finally done, I'm taking a vacation from everything. Alone. I watch Ghost Zero nod his head in agreement. Everything in our lives has been a result of another's actions. After this final job, no one who committed those sins oh so long ago will be alive. Zelly can be washed from the shame and pain of those days and move on with her life. All of us raised in the orphanage will be free from sharing the same existence and time as these monstrous scum. Where do you intend to go once this is all done? I plan on traveling around Gaia. Making up for the lost time, there are many continents I have never seen. Places I want to check out. I know that Ghost Zero hasn't made up his mind about anything regarding this subject, but it doesn't hurt to see where his current thoughts lay. I'm going back to Zelly. She'll need help with the new batch of orphans on the giant property. A little after that, I'll head to the Holy City and ask a girl a question I was too afraid to ask. Ghost Zero might have a shot with Saintess Lucy. She wasn't rude or meant to him. She was kind. Ghost Zero must have made a great impression on her when he stood up for her honor, even though she could kill both of us at the time with the swing of her sword. She seemed thankful for the kind gesture. I was led to believe her pride wouldn't let that happen. I was wrong, and so were many of the rumors. I chuckle, thinking back to that mission. Meeting Fenrir was an experience I'll never forget. Chapter 189, The Heist of Bellvia 14. We exit a hangout spot for the elderly with no new information. I take my hood off my head and let it relax on my shoulders. This is beginning to look much harder than I originally thought. I'm tempted to storm the palace now. I'm not stupid though, that'll cause way more problems than it's worth. I look towards Sally, and she is frustrated too. The elderly were even more uncooperative than the bartenders we asked. Many of them had very nasty things to say. I'm not going to repeat the vulgar stuff. I can't believe that man called you something so rude. I get they are old and can get away with certain things, but that was ridiculous. Anyone we talked to basically had the same thing to say. I didn't know getting old can make someone so bitter. It might be from living longer than the people you care about. I know I'd be bitter if my loved ones passed before I did. It's fine, Sally. In honesty, it's funny. You wouldn't think someone so old can say such things. Some of the insults made me laugh, like the one of me looking like I help elephants give birth. I chuckle to myself as I repeat that insult. That's not something you hear every day. While not entirely accurate, still funny to hear. Try not to chuckle as someone says that to you in an old man's voice. That was the last obvious spot we could check. I say we find another good inn and take the rest of the day off. I'm mentally beat from dealing with these people. Having to talk to so many people in the span of 2 days isn't something I really like. Sally nods her head in agreement and stretches in place. As she is about to speak, someone bumps into both of us out of breath. I look at the person, and it's the bank manager. He is red in the face from running. He is on the heavier side. He looks at me in desperation, but every time he tries to speak, he loses his breath. I stand patiently waiting for him to speak. After a whole 2 minutes of him gasping for air, he speaks. "We need your help." He takes a big gasp after relaying that obvious message. What I'm curious about is how he found me. Was he told or something? Mercenaries came in an hour ago and told us if we don't replace the missing money, we'll be killed. So someone hired mercenaries. They have to have a lot of money to be able to do that. He stands up straight now that he can speak without looking like he'll puke. They said to send a representative to the old cotton factory on the east side of the city. What are you going to do? You promised you would help us. That's a bit of a stretch. I never said I promise. However, when a man says something, it should be a promise regardless. You shouldn't have to say the words "I promise." I look to Sally, and she nods her head in agreement. The bank manager's face has relief wash upon it. I don't respond to him, and I turn and start walking away. We are heading to this old factory in the east part of the city. I wonder who it was that decided that this was the way to deal with a poor bank. It's the city's responsibility to ensure currency flow, not the bank's. It could be some noble at the marquis level or higher. I have no idea what we are walking into, but if it comes down to a fight, make sure that you are on guard. A person with a lot of money is capable of absolutely anything. Sally has a dark expression on her face, one ready for a fight. Almost hoping it would happen. I'm certain that during her time as a slave, she was abused and assaulted by nobles. I don't know how bad it was. I can only imagine, and if she wants to kill them, I'm not going to stop her. I would want to do the same thing if that happened to me, and I will help her if she comes to that decision. She has helped me so much already, and I can't see my travels without Sally anymore. So that means the things she wants to do become mine too. We spend an hour trying to find the old cotton factory, and after some asking around, we find it. It's a red brick building with many chimneys coming out the roof. There are some windows, but there aren't many. I notice a pair of guards standing at the entrance looking directly at us. I guess we are expected. I walk up to the door and 2 guards with caution. You never know what someone might pull. Head inside. The bosses are waiting. Bosses, more than one. It's rare for corrupted leaders to work together. Unless something more is going on here, I haven't noticed anything out of the unordinary. Everything is starting to look more than just a noble having a problem with the bank. We walk inside and the setting sun shining through the very few windows is all that lights the giant empty room. I hear footsteps on a catwalk coming from in front of us. I look up and see 3 shadows. They are just out of range for me to use inspect on them and vice versa. We are going to get straight to the point. We lured you here using the bank. They aren't in trouble. We have heard you are looking for a crew. Do you mind sharing what you're after? It could end up aligning with what we are after. Straight to the point, indeed. It looks like I need to work on my discretion. I look at them for a moment before answering. If these were law enforcement, they would have tried to arrest me. So that rules out that. If they were nobles, we wouldn't even be meeting. They'd send assassin after me until I left. I fold my arms and close my eyes. If I'm not careful here, all my quest go down the shitter. I need a crew for a complex job. Before I say any more, I'd like to know who I'm dealing with. I hear them whisper back and forth. After a couple of seconds, only one jumps down. Why risk all 3 when you can only risk one? Smart. He looks at me, and I look at him. He is wearing very powerful gear, and I can tell that he wields a powerful class. He gestures for me to continue. I need an item from the palace's treasure room, the Dice of Wayland. I have an entire plan worked out for it. I need the correct crew members to pull it off. The man in front of me looks up to the other 2 on the catwalk, and I see their heads move in the shadows. He walks forward slightly and relaxes. We need to hit the palace too, but not for the treasure room. We need someone to distract the masses and all the royalty in the palace. Once that is happening, we can enact our personal plan. We can adjust our plan and get you your item if you distract for us. So they are looking to get into the palace themselves. Their plan works perfectly with mine. I don't have to change a thing, and all they have to do is make a slight detour and get me my item. However, we have to know if you can properly distract the royalty and guards at the palace. Do you already have any ideas on how to get that working? I smile and tilt my head at the man. He waves his hand in a circle for me to explain. I take a breath, and I toggle my wings on. My big golden wings appear from my back and stretch out in power. I already have all that covered. I take it these tell you all the information you need to know. He has a surprised expression on his face, and the other 2 on the catwalk come down and into the light. These 3 guys are very powerful. I'd die if I were to take on more than one at a time. I'm glad this went smoothly. Sally has stayed quiet this entire time, but I can see she holds no malice anymore. These guys aren't nobles. They are like us people on personal quests. So let's discuss a plan. I already have one, but I need to hear your guys' plan just in case I need to change anything. As Sarah and the newly formed crew begin to talk, many things are happening all over Gaia. One of those things being a meeting in the Holy City. It's a meeting to discuss the monster's latest plan in the war. The exact meeting is about what the angel halo lost in ruins they are searching means. More and more is happening all over Gaia, and nothing can stop the winds of change. Chapter 190, The Heist of Bellvia 15. We all sit around a table in a hidden area under an orphanage I passed a few times. I've come to know these 3 men's names. The first being Creature Man. He has a legacy class that specializes in stealth and thievery. He is one of the few people of Gaia I have ever met with such a unique class. The next is Ghost Zero. He has a legacy class too. He is a defensive monster. Even with my powerful skills, I doubt I'd be able to defeat him in the time my skills are active. Finally, there is Creelder, the only person of Gaia I've ever talked to personally with a legendary class. In this little room, nobody has a class ranked below legacy. All of us are one of a kind. I look at the palace map and appreciate how hard they have been working on this plan of theirs. Something so important to the royal family here in Belvia would be closely guarded. It must have come at a heavy price. Maps of high nobility properties are closely guarded secrets. I look at the old dusty map and admire the accuracy it has. It shows secret passageways and the sort. The first thing we need to discuss is how you plan to distract them. It needs to be long enough for us to hit our targets and get the dice of Wayland from the treasure vault. What do you plan on doing? Creelder asks me about the first step of the master plan we have constructed. They will be waiting in positions near some old secret entrances. Once the distraction starts, that's when they go in. I have been thinking about this for a while now, and I got just the plan. I plan to leave the city and run a few miles away. Then return towards the front entrance flying and land with my angel wings out. After that, the situation will unfold itself. The nobility and royalty will be in an uproar after that, creating the hole they need. The plan for the distraction is to leave the city through the secret entrance, get a few miles away, then fly back with my wings out and land at the front gate to the city. After that, everything will erupt into chaos. That'll be your chance. While handling their targets and my item from the treasury, I'll be busy demanding answers about Ulmaruna and the Dryads. Getting the information I need for those quests. Now the only piece we haven't really fit into anything is Sally. I look at her, and she looks a little dejected. She wants to be included in the grand plan we have come up with. I take her with me and have her help me do my part. It'll be fun to see the expressions of nobles when they hear I travel with an elf. Everyone nods their heads in agreement, and that's when Creelder begins to discuss their part of the mission. Once the distraction has started, the three of us will each take separate entrances. All of them lead to different parts of the palace. We'll have a small window to take out our targets before they get distracted by the chaos too. Once we deal with them, we hit the treasure room here. He points to a big area on a separate map. A palace as big as this has multiple levels maps. It's a very big treasure room. I bet there are some great things in there. Too bad I'll only be getting the dice of Wayland. The treasure room is going to have plenty of magical traps and detection enchantments. Creature man, we'll leave this part up to you while we stand guard. We hope you can find the item in 2 minutes, but you have 5 just in case. It'll likely be well hidden. You have all the best skills for this specific part of the job. So I have no doubt you'll succeed. Now that part of the heist is taken care of, we'll have to discuss the escape plan because security will get very tight once I'm fully known around the city. They won't want anything happening to me. It's a double-edged sword using my status, but a necessary risk nonetheless. Both Creature Man and Ghost Zero have been scouting the locations from what I hear, and now Ghost Zero takes over. There will be heavy guard increases in the poorer districts here, here, and here. He points to circles 3 areas around the separate map of the city. They will be hammering down on crime and known places that many criminals go. We have some safe houses like this one that are undiscovered, but they are very close to the places that will have increased security. So we'll use the sewer system. There is a treatment station right next to our escape passage from the palace. We'll enter it, and wait till nightfall in the rich district to come out. He circles another part of the map near the palace. It's a big area, must be where the merchants and nobles of low rank stay. Everything sounds perfect. We'll launch this operation as soon as dawn breaks, which means we need to leave now to set up my part of the plan. Sally will be using her ice dummies so we can tell you when we arrive at the gate. She has a useful skill that allows her to talk through them. Once we let you know we are starting, they'll melt, and you'll be on your own. As badly as Sally wanted a direct role in this operation, this is vital to our success, and she should be proud. I look at her and give her a confident smile. Her mood has been improving. We don't need her doing any of the heavy lifting. You'll be with me, Sally, you'll fly in with me, and we'll deal with the distraction and nobility part. I know it's going to be hard on you, but once nightfall hits, we'll meet at our location outside the city. Everything has been decided, and now it's time to execute. I nod my head to the 3 gentlemen, and Sally makes 3 ice dummies to say with each one, we turn and use their personal passage into the underground city. We'll meet at the location outside the city. Sally and I will get there first. I'm not worried about getting betrayed either. These guys aren't the type to backstab their crew members. It also helps I'm the son of Archangel Michael. We walk down the passage in silence. We don't have to rush since we have several hours before sunrise and the plans start. I will equip my title, the son of Archangel Michael, to seal the deal once we get to the gate. I open my player interface to make sure that everything is in order regarding that. Slayer, XIII, LVL.90. EXP, 1/100%. Title, the son of Archangel Michael, hidden, plus 3 more. Stats. Strength, 2095 endurance, 2045 dexterity, 2215 speed, 2240 focus, 14660. Mana aura control, 5/100%. Health, 16,560,000/16,560,000,000 mana, 146,600,000/146,600,000,000. Stat points, 0 armor rating, 500. Inventory. Passive perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL.9325/900 protected by Heaven LVL.9225/900/LVL.224600/13000 Parry LVL.380/300 Double Strike N/A King Slayer N/A Raging Machine N/A Winged Glory Angelic Flight Divine Pressure Exertion Divinity Pulse Controlled Fun. It has the word hidden in parentheses. I click on it, and it gives me an option if I want to activate it or not. It gives me a warning about what will happen if I do. Extreme Caution, the Son of Archangel Michael is a one-of-a-kind title that has very special effects on people and creatures if fully activated in a population center. The following things will happen: everyone will see a floating text above your head without having to inspect you saying the Son of Archangel Michael. Many people will have several reactions. Some will bow and weep before you, and others will try and reach out and touch you, trying to experience divinity. The news will sweep fast across the city and then the continent. Extreme caution, other effects will happen, not all things can be listed. I didn't know this about my title. I'm going to keep it hidden for now. Do you think everything will go according to plan? I have a bad feeling that something might happen. Sally asks me a question that is totally normal for something like this. Anyone will have doubts and jitters, so I can understand why she is asking this. I place my hand on top of her hood as we walk in the quiet tunnel. Everything is going to be fine. We have a great crew, a perfect plan, and every reason to do this. If something does go wrong, I'll handle it. Have faith in them. There are some of the most powerful people on Gaia. She has some relaxation wash over her, but I can tell she is worried. She will come to terms. I'm going to be by her side the entire way. So no need to be worried. Now, it's time to get this heist on the road.